कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन जमुना तीरा यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nittai Gaur Hari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschata Dishatarine. At one time, Pandavas and Kauravas, there's two lines of the same family, got into a terrible conflict. And it came to a situation that they had to fight a battle. Pandavas here are the devotees of Krishna. And Kauravas, headed by Duryodhana, are opposed to Krishna. Like, we know why Krishna came, to protect the devotees and annihilate the demons. And through his entire pastime, he established that principle. His devotees, although they are persecuted, they are troubled by the non-devotees, the demons, not non-devotees. Non-devotees can also be innocent. But there is a difference between the innocent who are not devotees as yet, but in course of time, when they get into proper association, they become devotees. But the other group, no matter how much they are reminded about Krishna's supreme position, but still they don't want to surrender to Krishna, even when Krishna himself comes to advise them, guide them, they don't want to accept him. So Kauravas fall in that category. Actually, in order to stop that battle, Krishna himself went to Duryodhana with a very reasonable proposal. Not only reasonable, a very sincere proposal, you can say. You see, the consideration was whether the Pandavas will get back their kingdom. Okay, so background is two brothers, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Dhritarashtra is the elder brother, but he is blind, born blind. So a blind person cannot become the king. So Dhritarashtra was not coronated, or he did not succeed the throne. And his younger brother Pandu became the king. But they had very good relationship, both the brothers. Pandu really took care of his elder brother, a lot of love and affection. That's the thing with the good people. Good people are always good. All their behavior, all their activities are good for the benefit of others. So Pandu was taking care of Dhritarashtra very nicely, and Dhritarashtra also was very affectionate towards Pandu. But Pandu had an untimely death, and his 5 sons were brought up in the kingdom, in the capital, in a kind of rather neglected atmosphere. Dhritarashtra, he himself couldn't become a king. he was hoping that his son would become the king, because the Vedic culture is, Vedic custom is, that the eldest son inherits the property of the father. Unlike today's culture, now the property is divided among all brothers and sisters also. And as a result, and then so this is how the property becomes fragmented. Then they have their children. So then whatever is the fragment, that is divided among them. So this is how it continues to become more and more fragmented. Whereas in the Vedic culture, the assets remain intact. Eldest brother inherits it. So, although the eldest brother inherits it, he doesn't deprive his younger brothers. He, like the eldest brother, like the father, takes care of the younger brothers. And younger brothers also are given assignments. Like, say, for example, the eldest brother became the king, and he would make the younger brothers the governors and give other important responsibilities. And anyway, so Dhritarashtra, although he was the eldest brother, elder of these two, but he could not inherit the kingdom because he was blind. Now the Vedic names are also very relevant, indicating the personality and character of the person. So the name Dhrita means holding on to, and Rashtra means kingdom. One who is holding on to his kingdom, although he is not qualified, but he is holding on to it. So Dhritarashtra thought that at least he couldn't become a king, his son would become a king. But before his son was born, Pandu's son was born. So by birthright, Pandu's son actually became the king, the successor to the throne. And so when Pandu died and these 5 children of Pandu were being taken care of in the royal palace, but there was a lot of envy, because Dhritarashtra's son, eldest son Duryodhana, he couldn't become a king. And besides that, all the 5 brothers were extremely good-natured, extremely qualified, extremely talented. So that made Duryodhana even more envious. And besides that, Bhima, he was very powerful. And he became a bully. Like, although there were 100 brothers, but Bhima would always harass them. Like when they would climb up a tree, so he would shake the tree and make them fall from the tree. When they would go for a swim, then he would push them down underwater. So this is how, like the way the children play, they would, Bhim naturally would display his strength. And he became sort of a bully. So that became the cause of even greater envy and anger and discontentment. So from the childhood, they developed this, Duryodhana developed this resentment towards these 5 cousins of his. And on top of everything, their nature was so good, everybody would admire them. They would always sing the glory of this. Oh, see, Yudhishthira is so good. Bhima is so powerful. Arjun is such a gentleman. And without speaking, they would actually display their attitude towards Duryodhana. he is so envious. He is so narrow-minded. He is so mean. So Duryodhana could not tolerate that the Pandavas are being glorified and they are being criticized. Pandavas were admired, they are being insulted. Pandavas were so powerful and they are weaklings. Not weaklings, but they are not as powerful as they are. So as a result of that, Duryodhana, even in his childhood, tried to kill Bhima. But no matter how much one tries to harm a devotee, he can't, because Krishna always takes care of his devotees. Duryodhana actually gave Bhima poison with the food. Sweets were made with deadly poison, snake poison. Bhima became unconscious, so they tied him up by hands and feet and threw him in the river. And carried by the river, Bhima went to Patalaloka, lower planetary system, where the serpents live, snakes, the world of the snakes. And Bhima fell on those snakes when they were playing. His body fell and the snakes became upset. They started to bite him. Now he was given snake poison and now the snake started to bite him. So what happened? The snake bites acted as an antidote and Bhima regained his consciousness. And he didn't like it at all that the snakes were biting him. So he snapped the ropes that bound him, and he started to kill all those snakes. So the news reached the king of the snakes that a human child is killing all the snakes. So he became curious. Who is that human child came into this loka, our kingdom, and he is killing the snakes? So out of curiosity he came with the minister and he recognized that it was Bhima. They had some relationship. Bhima was the son of the wind god, Pavandev. So he recognized Bhima and very affectionately he took him to his palace. And there he gave Bhima nectar to drink, the nectar from the lower region. And Bhima, he was so fond of eating and drinking that he drank 8 pots of nectar. And drinking so much nectar, he slept for 7 days. And he acquired the strength of 10,000 elephants. Even as a child, Bhima had the strength of 10,000 elephants. So here we can see, like they tried to harm Bhima, kill him, but what happened? Bhima became even more powerful. So then they tried to burn them in a house of shellac. And at that time Pandavas actually escaped, digging a tunnel. And they thought that the palace is not a safe place for them to go. So they were just wandering around. And then it was the Swayamvara ceremony of Draupadi. So Vasdev came, who is their grandfather actually. Vasdev came and told them that they should go to that. He didn't say anything, he just said, you all go and participate. Now in that Swayamvara ceremony, Arjun actually won Draupadi. So at that time, they recognized that these are the Pandavas. The Pandavas were not dead. Because that kind of hitting the target only Arjun could do. Because it was an impractical and impossible task. There was a fish high up, kept high, placed high up above, and one had to shoot the fish, the eye of the fish, by passing the arrow through a rotating disc. The disc was rotating, there was a hole in that, and so you can see what and not only looking up there, but looking down on the reflection. So Arjun could only hit that target. So they suspected that this must be Arjun, and then eventually it was disclosed that yes, the Pandavas were not dead, Pandavas were alive. So then the elder members of the family, of the royal family, decided that they should be given half of the kingdom. Although Yudhishthira was the inheritor, but anyway, so they were happy. Okay, and what kind of half was what portion was given? The desert part of the kingdom was given to them. But when the Pandavas settled down there, the desert became a paradise. I mean, to turn a desert into paradise is not really impossible. How many of you have gone to Dubai? Didn't they turn the desert into paradise? So if they can do it, why the Pandavas couldn't do it? And of course they did it in a different way. Anyway, they did it with their money. Whereas Pandavas did that with their pious activities, pious deeds. And the pious deeds are more precious than money. So that's why try to acquire pious deed and don't acquire sinful deeds. Sinful deed takes you to minus and pious deeds takes you to plus. So the Pandavas got the kingdom, and their kingdom became so prosperous, so flourishing and so opulent that Duryodhana became envious. As we discussed yesterday, during the Rajasuya Yajna of Yudhishthira Maharaj, Duryodhana came and he became so envious seeing their opulence. So Duryodhana, in a deceitful game of dice, defeated them, took away their kingdom and everything. Even they won in that game Draupadi, their wife, and insulted her in public assembly. And then finally, the Pandavas were banished from the kingdom, banished into the forest for 12 years and 1 year of incognito. So after 13 years, when they came back, and they naturally claimed their kingdom, Duryodhana refused to give that kingdom back. He said without a battle, he is not going to give that kingdom. So many senior members of the family and saintly personalities, the sages, came and advised. Vasudev came and told Duryodhana, just give them the rightful share. Don't get into this battle. Duryodhana didn't listen. Maitreya Rishi came and advised that give them their kingdom. Duryodhana wouldn't listen. Their mother advised, give them their kingdom. Duryodhana wouldn't listen. So finally, Krishna came with a proposal. Okay, you don't have to give them half the kingdom. You don't have to give them their kingdom back. Give them just 5 villages and avoid this war. Duryodhana wouldn't listen. Not only that, he wanted to arrest Krishna. He thought that now Krishna is alone here, so we'll arrest him and keep him in the prison. So Krishna is their main strength, Pandavas. So if without Krishna, they'll become weak. So we can very easily win them. So in the assembly hall, Duryodhana's soldiers surrounded Krishna in order to arrest him. So at that time Krishna showed his universal form. And being afraid, they all ran away. But as it said that a wicked person do not take good advice. A wicked person do not resort to right activity. So Duryodhana, in spite of seeing Krishna's universal form, who can ever have any doubt that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? But what was Duryodhana's response? Oh, it's a magic trick. He displayed some magic. It's not nothing special about it. Anyway, so the battle became inevitable. Not that the Pandavas wanted to fight, but Duryodhana was adamant to fight the battle. So that's why Duryodhana and Arjuna is now facing the opponent in the enemy line. So that is the battle of Kurukshetra. And why this battle of Kurukshetra is so important for us? Because of Bhagavad Gita. There Krishna gave Arjuna the advice in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. First chapter is describing that how Arjuna became overwhelmed with emotion. That seeing that his very, very dear, intimate relatives and friends, and now he has to kill them. How could he do that? So here again we see the nature of a good person. A good person in the greatest difficulty doesn't give up his noble character. Like they have been deprived, they have been humiliated, and in spite of all that, he is reluctant to fight. And not only he was deprived and he was humiliated, he had been forced into this battle. But still Arjuna is reluctant to fight. So this is how we can see the nature of a good person. And this is how we also can learn how to shift it a little bit here. How to become good, how to follow the right advice, right nature, right example. So Arjuna is bewildered here. He's decided not to fight, and he was telling Krishna various reasons why this battle is not desirable. Arjuna even said that I would rather become a mendicant and survive by begging, but I don't want to enjoy this kingdom stained with the blood of my relatives. So at that time, when Arjuna actually surrendered to Krishna and told Krishna, Krishna, please tell me what I should do. I am completely bewildered. Karpanna dosa apahata sabhava. Prichhami tvam dharma samhura cheta. Dharma samhura cheta. I became completely bewildered about my duty, dharma. And please instruct me, because I am surrendering myself to you as your disciple. All this while Krishna was silent. But when Arjuna surrendered himself, then Krishna started to advise him. And that is what constitutes the Bhagavad Gita. That's what Bhagavad Gita is. Krishna's advice to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. In Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna started to speak, actually here we have to understand what Krishna is giving through Bhagavad Gita is the highest spiritual understanding. Highest spiritual wisdom. Arjuna was overwhelmed with grief that how can I fight this battle where I have to kill my worshipable superiors, my friends, my relatives. And Arjuna is thinking in that way because this battle is a serious business. It's a matter of either you kill them or you get killed. There is no other way. The third way can be to leave the battlefield. But for a Kshatriya, it's even worse than death. So he has to kill them. If he doesn't, then he'll be killed. So, in that condition, when Arjuna is lamenting due to his grief, then Krishna started to advise him. The first advice that Krishna gave is, Arjuna, there was never a time when you and I and these kings here who are not there, and there'll never be a time when we will not be there. So this is the first lesson that we have to learn. This is the first lesson that Krishna is giving in Bhagavad Gita. Now when Krishna says like that, there was never a time when we didn't exist, and there'll never be a time when we will not exist. That means we have always been here and we will be here. Now what actually causes, what is the lamentation here for? Arjuna's lamentation here is for the body of his relatives. Body. But what actually lasts forever? Who was there before and who will continue to be thereafter? The soul. So this is how Krishna establishes the first principle, the difference between the body and the soul. And then Krishna pointed out that, look, this body is just like a dress. Just as when the dress becomes old and worn out, you take off that old dress and put on a new one. Similarly, when this body becomes old, we discard this old body and take up a new body. So what's there to lament about? To begin with, there is nothing to lament about. Say for example, if somebody comes and tells you, get rid of your old car and we'll give you a new car. What will you say? Will you cry? No, I don't want to get rid of my old car. What if somebody comes and tells you that get rid of this old dilapidated house and a new house is waiting for you? What will you say? You have to think twice. Then why are you thinking? So now let's take this to the same, let's apply the same principle here. What if someone comes and tells you that get rid of this old body and get a new one? What will you say? Huh? No? No?
Depending on what, new one. The misery will be the same.
Oh, wise man. Anyway, I think everybody will go for a new one. Because they're not as wise as you are. So this is the nature of this body. And this is the real understanding. Now just tell me, how many people in this world have this knowledge? And did we have this knowledge before we came across Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is? No. Now after receiving this knowledge, did it make a big difference? So, just see the first instruction, just first 2 lines of Krishna's advice make so much sense. Then Krishna is establishing the nature of the soul. The soul is never born. Who is born? The body. When the body is born? When the soul accepts a new body. When the soul accepts a new body, we call it birth. And when the soul leaves the old body, we call it death. So birth and death is for the body. Soul is beyond that. It is the presence of the soul that makes this body alive. Otherwise, how can this body be active, conscious and alive? Because can matter be active? Matter by nature is inert. Matter by nature is say it's coming the same point actually. Inert, from the word comes inertia. That is inability to move. So that is the nature of matter. By nature, matter is dead. But how come this body made of dead matter is alive? Because of the presence of the soul. As long as the soul is in the body is alive. When the soul leaves the body, the dead body becomes dead again. Isn't it? This body is made of dead matter. So isn't it a dead body? This body is a dead body. Because the presence of the soul, the body is alive. So when the soul leaves the body, then the dead body becomes dead again. And then Krishna pointed out that the soul can never be cut by weapons. The soul cannot be cut by weapons. The soul cannot be burnt by fire. The soul cannot be drowned by water. Soul cannot be withered by air. So this is the nature of the soul that Krishna established. And in this way, in the second chapter, Krishna actually extensively speaks about the nature of the soul. Then Krishna goes to the third chapter describing the duties of the soul. So, so I'll just selected a few verses, we'll just go. In the third chapter, Krishna is pointing out how one should act in this material nature. Actually, at the beginning of the third chapter, Arjuna was asking Krishna that in the second chapter, Krishna spoke about karma and Krishna spoke about jnana, knowledge. And then Arjuna questioned that Krishna, in one hand you are asking me to be active, and at the same time you are saying that jnana or sankhya is the better. So how can I understand that of these two, karma and jnana, which one is more important? Then Krishna actually pointed out that there is no difference. When the proper action is executed, that leads to liberation from this material bondage. Anyway, then eventually Krishna is coming to the point that how one should act. Here, in the third chapter, Krishna is speaking about karma yoga. And this karma yoga is not complete karma yoga. It's initially speaking about yajna. Now yajna is something like, performance of yajna is something like paying the price. You get something, and for that you have to pay the price to the owner or who is the supplier. Price to the supplier. So in this world, the demigods are supplying whatever we need. Say for example, we are getting light. Who is supplying the light? Sun God. We are getting water. Who is supplying the water? Varun Dev. We are getting wind. Who is supplying the wind? We are getting fire. Who is supplying fire? So this is how different demigods are fulfilling our various needs. Now if you get something from them, like you get some facilities, then don't you have to pay the price? Like say, let's go back to this similar example. The state is supplying electricity. What do you have to do? Just keep on consuming electricity and not worry about it. You have to pay the bill. If you don't pay the bill, then the supply will be cut. You are getting supply of water. And at the end of the month you get the bill. If you don't pay the bill, then what will happen? The supply will be cut. Supply will stop. So now you consider you are getting so many things from nature. Who are supplying them? The demigods are supplying them. And therefore, they should be paid the bill. Eventually, Krishna is of course pointing out that the demigods are working on his behalf. Therefore, whatever is supplied to the demigods are actually coming to him. Like, say, the electric supply department is getting the payments. Now, does the electric department take up the whole thing, or they pass it on to the treasury of the government, central? So similarly, first consideration is that whenever we get something, we have to pay for that. And ultimately, that payment is going to Krishna. And in that way, Krishna pointed out that this thing is called a yajna. The paying the bill is the yajna. How do we pay? By performing yajna. By performing yajna, we please the demigod. But ultimately, where does it go? To Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is saying, Jagyarthat karmana annatra. You function, you act in order to perform yajna. Otherwise, your action will be the cause of your bondage. Lokoayam karma bandhana. Why? That if you don't pay or if you don't do it for Krishna, then you have to suffer the reaction. And suffering and becoming liable to the reaction is the cause of bondage. So in simple words, when we act for Krishna, then we become free from bondage. But if we act for our own sake, we will generate karmic reactions, and these karmic reactions will tie us down to the material nature. So action to Krishna becomes the cause of our freedom from bondage, or action for our own sake or for our own sense gratification becomes the cause of our bondage. So therefore Joggarthat karmana annatra lokoayam karma bandhana. Otherwise he will become cause of bondage. Tadartham karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. Therefore act in this way and you remain unaffected. You remain free. Then Krishna makes one point that how do people live? How are we living? What is the one of the most important factor for our survival? Food. Jaggarthat karma annatra, annad bhavanti bhutani. Living entities survive by eating food. And parjannad anna sambhava. Food grains are grown due to parjanna, due to rain. Is it clear that due to, like few years back, there was drought in Australia and everybody was in anxiety. Why? Because there won't be any food grain. Nowadays, of course, they're bringing supply from different other places. But still, can you get food in the middle of the desert without being transported from some other part of the world? Why? Because there is no rain. So parjannad anna sambhava. What causes the rain to fall? Jaggar bhavati parjanna. Rain takes place because of sacrifice. Therefore, jagga karma samudbhava. Therefore, act for the sake of performing jagya, which means for the sake of Krishna's pleasure. So in this way, tasmad ashaktas tatatam karjam karma samacharo ashakto hi acharan karma param apnoti purusha. In this way, by acting properly one becomes free from the bondage of this material nature. And then gradually Krishna instructed about how to become connected to the Lord. The process of becoming connected to the Lord is called yoga. And Krishna establishes that, how this particular yoga, which is called Ashtanga yoga, is performed. And then he is saying that there are various kinds of activities that give us spiritual benefits. Like one is karma yoga. One is tapasya, austerities. One is acquiring knowledge of the spiritual world, spiritual reality. So Krishna is saying that tapasyabhya adhiko yogi, a yogi who is engaged in establishing his relationship with the Lord, he is superior to a person who is performing austerities and penances. Tapasyabhya adhiko yogi. Karmibhascha adhika. He is superior to the karmis, those who are involved in fruitive activities. Jnanibhascha adhiko yogi. I'm sorry, the second one is Jnanibhascha adhiko yogi, and the third one is Karmibhascha adhiko yogi. So anyway, a yogi is superior to one who is performing austerities, one who is cultivating knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and one who is involved in fruitive activity. Therefore, he is saying, Tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna. Therefore, Arjuna, you become a yogi. But then, Krishna is saying, Yoginam opi sarvesham, of all the yogis, Madgatena antaratmanaha, one who has become engaged in my devotional service, he is the most intimately connected to me. Now, why this connection is necessary, that has been explained by Krishna also very nicely. After giving the advice of karma yoga, Krishna told Arjuna, Arjuna, I gave this knowledge to Vivaswan, sun god. Then Vivaswan gave it to his son Manu. Then Manu gave it to his son Ikshaku. And in this way, in a chain of disciplic succession of saintly kings, this knowledge was flowing. But now I am imparting this knowledge unto you, because you are my devotee and you are my friend. So Krishna told you, mind you, what did Krishna say? I gave this knowledge first to who? Sun God. So where is Sun God and how many years ago he was there? Was he from today's time? So many millions of years ago, billions of years ago. So that's what Krishna asked, Arjuna asked Krishna. That Krishna, you were born just the other day, and Sun God appeared so many millions of years ago. So how can I understand that you imparted this knowledge to Sun God? Aparang bhavato janma. Aparang means recently. You are born recently. Parang janma vivasataha. But Vivaswan was born so many billions of years ago. Katham etad bijaniyam tamado praktavaniti. How can I understand that you gave this knowledge to Vivaswan? Isn't it a relevant question? So then Krishna told Arjuna, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. Many, many times you have been born. So did I. But tani aham veda sarvani. About all those births, I know everything. But you don't know anything. So in this way, Krishna is establishing the difference between Arjuna and him. Arjuna is the spirit soul and Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Krishna pointed out that I don't take birth. I don't take birth. I manifest myself. Krishna, when he comes here, he doesn't come here by taking birth, but he comes here out of his own sweet will by the arrangement of Yogamaya. So in this way, Krishna established his identity, and then Krishna pointed out why he comes. And that we discussed time and time again. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam, dharma samsthapanarthaya samvadami juge. In order to re-establish dharma, I come juge juge. Hare Krishna. So, I thought as a part of this seminar, we'll discuss Bhagavad Gita, which is the most important aspect for us. And so if anybody has any question, can ask.
You said Bhima was Arjuna, Duryodhana gave poison to Bhima and Bhima went to Patal Loka. Does that mean that Patal Loka is part of this planet or it is some other planet?
Yeah. This not this planet, but this universe. The universe has 14 planetary systems. We are in one planet called Earth planet, Bhurloka. And above that there are 6 higher planets. We are in Bhurloka, above that is Bhubarloka, Swarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, and Sattaloka. And below us there are 7 planetary systems. Atal, Bital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal and Patal. Okay? So yes, Bhima went there, was carried by the river into that region.
So now you explained that Pandavas are the devotees of Krishna. And in yesterday's session when you described all Subhadra's kidnapping by Arjuna, so now that time we didn't know that he's doing a wrong thing by kidnapping Supreme Lord's sister, or is...
Well, he had the approval of the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord wanted him to do that. Krishna actually told him, Balaram is arranging that, don't worry, you just kidnap her.
Guru Maharaj, there are innumerable universes, so every universe has got 14 planetary system or what
Yeah.
is universe?
Every planetary system has the same geography. Yes, Satya?
Is it that we don't perform yajnas so much as ISKCON devotees because we try to surrender to Krishna and so we don't need to surrender to the demigods or thank the demigods? Is that why?
We are performing Yajna all the time. Because the real Yajna is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra called Sankirtan Yajna. And that is the most powerful Yajna and most effective Yajna. Sometimes, I think it was in Brisbane, like there was no rain. So we just decided to have a Harinam to get the rain. We didn't even have to go out and chant. Maybe we did, but when we decided, it started to rain. So this is the power of yajna, Sankirtan yajna.
Krishna Maharaj. So I think this is not related to what we discussed today, but yesterday I think we spoke about how Krishna went to Panchajanya, the conch shell. But then in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that Krishna blows his conch shell called the Panchajanya. Is there a connection?
Yeah, right. He then took that body of that conch, that shell, and he made it his conch shell. Hare Krishna. Any other question? Yes?
Very much. Normally when there's festival days or big days, we fast, and that's a type of sacrifice as well. So, but as Maharaj explained that the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna mantra is much more higher. So, what is the significance of the fasting then?
When you fast and chant Mahamantra, Mahamantra becomes even more powerful. Actually, Prabhupada wanted us to celebrate a few occasions by fasting. That is the days when Krishna appeared, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. So the Vishnu Tattva's appearance days, we generally fast.